Let's go! Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a ball game, today. The fans are out to get a ticket or two. From Walla Walla, Washington to Kalamazoo. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Friday, February 28th, the last day of the month. We are almost into March. March is when opening day is of the baseball season. You know how much I'm looking forward to that. We've had some spring training games going on. I've watched a lot of MLB TV offers the free game of the day. Seems like the Padres are on there almost every day. But I've been able to watch a couple of Dodger games, and I don't watch the entire 9 innings. I usually watch an inning or two and just leave it at that. Usually at this point of the season, I really don't care about watching some minor league guy playing in the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. I mean, sometimes I'll leave the game on just to have it on as background while I do stuff around the house. Or even like if I'm at work, I'll leave a game on while I'm working on stuff. But excited to have baseball almost back. We are winding down the season when it comes to the NHL and the NBA. Let's see what happens going forward as we enter April. Will be the last month of the regular season, and see how the playoffs go. I just picked up my tickets. I am not going to opening day at Dodger Stadium, but I will be going to the second game of the season, which is actually the night they're handing out the World Series rings, and that was the night I really wanted to go. And this year, unfortunately, on opening day, the Dodgers are doing their opening day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And those of you who are from the LA area or who grew up here once know that opening day should be at 1 p.m. because that's the day we ditch school and take the day off from work. And you just have you make a great day of it. It's not the same thing when the game is at 4 o'clock. So I'll be going to the night game, which is game 2 against the Detroit Tigers, and check out how the World Series, the ring ceremony goes. Hopefully it'll be a cool night. Hobby-wise, I have been doing a lot, and I am looking at some cards to my left that I'm not going to show you for another week, just because more cards are coming in. I kind of have a revenge attitude right now, and I'll explain that more to you next week, but it's all good. It's all good. So, but I wanted to introduce something today that I'm going to really talk about more in depth next week, and that is the path we take when it comes to collecting. For me, as I said in last week's video, I started buying cards in 1973. And from 1973, or throughout the 70s, I was buying what was then modern cards. And I probably didn't start looking backwards until like 1979 or 1980. That's when I just started discovering cards from the 60s and the 50s. But I never imagined the path that my collection would lead me to when it came to showing the cards that I'm going to show you today. Just because, like I said, as a kid, I only thought about getting a 1973 Dodger set and a Hank Aaron card. In 1974, I thought about getting the Hank Aaron card. And in 1976, I was excited because I got a Fred Lynn card. We were looking for those type of cards. And as you grow older and you start buying more cards and you start looking further back, you start thinking about what else do I want to buy? And surprisingly for me, I'm still one of those, and I've said this before, I still really do love what we call the golden age of cardboard. And specifically, I know the golden age includes the 48 to 55 Bowmans, which are beautiful cards. Actually, I'm really starting to gain an appreciation for the 1955 Bowman. But for me, really, the tops, 51 to 80, is where it's at. So those are the cards that I enjoyed growing up. And like I said, I'll talk a little. I'll go more in depth into the path, what I consider the path when it comes to collecting next week. But I did want to introduce it today just because part of my path in collecting has led me to some cards that I really love. Cards that I hope that I can continue to buy. I don't know if I'll ever be finishing a set, but I really have grown a major fondness for cards from the 1930s. 1933 Gouty, 1934 Gouty, the Diamond Stars from 1934 to 36, the Bad Rep Collection, 1938 Gouty, 1939 Play Ball. I love those sets. They are just really good looking cards. So, like I said, I'd like to get more cards in there. We'll see what happens down the road, but it's been fun being introduced to this path, which is collecting pre-war cards from the 30s, to a lesser extent from the 40s because of the war. I do love my 41 play ball cards, obviously, and I'm really gaining an appreciation for 48 and 49 Bowman, along with those beautiful leaf cards from 48 and 49. But the path that I want to talk to you about today is my 30s collection. And while we're on the subject of 30s baseball cards, I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Gannon, who started his YouTube channel this week. I'm going to leave you a link because I definitely think you should check it out, so you can check out his 1930s collection, which is completely awesome. And Gannon is a good guy who has commented. He's been commenting on my channel for a long time, and it was wonderful. I had no clue he was going to start making videos. And when I saw the video this week, I was like, "Oh my God!" You just have to watch the first 2 or 3 cards he shows you, and you're like, "I'm hooked. This guy's got good stuff. This guy's got good stories." So definitely, I'm going to leave Gannon's link in my description. Please check him out. And it's funny was because before I saw Gannon's video, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to show some 1930s cards." And then when I saw Gannon's video and I saw he had 30s cards, he showed off his 1930s cards, I was like, all right, now I'm really going to show my cards because he showed his, and his were beautiful. So in honor of my collection and Gannon's first YouTube video featuring his 1930s collection, I'm going to turn the camera around, and we are going to look at some cards from the 30s. Now, what really led me to the path of wanting to get baseball cards from the 1930s was I was buying a lot of cards. I was building some 60s sets, some sets from the 1950s. And I feel that my collection is always, I try to make my collection a history of baseball through baseball cards. But I also wanted to add great players from an earlier era. And the first 2 guys I honestly thought of were these 2 guys featured on their 1941 play ball cards. And that's Jimmy Fox and Mel Ott. 2 Hall of Famers, both hit more than 500 home runs, had stellar careers. And these were really the 2 cards that I wanted just to add to my collection. And eventually, I bought a Jimmy Fox, I bought a Mel Ott, and then I remember buying a Carl Hubble and a Red Ruffing. And all of a sudden, I was buying all these guys that had great careers in the 30s. And some of these guys started even as late as the 20s. And this really led me to wanting to buy 30s cards, especially for me building the 41 play ball set. I feel that the 33 Gouty, the 34 Gouty, and the Diamond Stars, I feel that those 4 sets are kind of linked based on their design, their color, the backgrounds, the players, and the poses that they used. If I had it my way, I would have all 4 sets. Don't know if that'll ever, I highly doubt that'll ever happen. But that's what got me going. So in that honor, I wanted to show you some cards from the 30s. Let's get these guys from the 40s out. Now we're going to start with some really simple stuff. I've got maybe 12 cards here to show off you guys. Now this one barely snuck in. This is technically from the 1929, 1930, I believe it's the W517 set. I could be wrong. I should have written it down before I started hit recording. And this is Dazzy Vance on the Brooklyn Robins. And unfortunately, that smudge or whatever, that ink, I don't know what that is, but that's on every one of his cards. That's how they released the photo back then in 1929 and 1930. Dazzy Vance had a great career with the Dodgers, went on to win a World Series with the Cardinals. But here is his pose from back then in 1929 to 1930. Now, in 1931, we switched over to, we were still in the strip card era, but the cards were kind of starting to look nicer. And we had the 1931 W517 Lefty O'Doul hand-cut card. This is a good-looking set. I have a couple of cards. I have the 2 Dodger cards from this set. And I actually really like the Babe Ruth card a lot. Unfortunately, I'll never be buying that. It's just too expensive. But here is Lefty Duel in a PSA 5. It's marked. I never see my marks, but that's Lefty O'Doul. So finally, we kind of get into like the golden era of 30s cards. And one of the first ones I bought, and looking back, I bought this card by accident, or I guess I should say I probably wouldn't have bought this today. And this is a 1933 Gowdy Eddie Collins card in a PSA 2. Now, the reason I said I shouldn't have bought it is because I am a firm believer in having plain day cards. So I don't really appreciate cards that, the guy retired 20 years ago and they made a baseball card of him. I have a 1973 Babe Ruth. I have a couple of cards of his, some Ty Cobb cards. Those for me just don't compare to, the real cards when they were plain days cards. So it was after I bought this card that I realized that Gowdy also put out cards with some retired players. Eddie Collins and I believe Tris Speaker being 2 of them. So I kept this card, and I eventually ended up buying Eddie Collins playing days card, the T205 gold borders, and I kept this one just because I don't like to sell cards. So that is my 1933 Gowdy Eddie Collins. God, this might be one of the first 30s cards I ever bought. And that would be this 1934-36 Diamond Stars Sam Leslie card. And like I said, like one of the first cards I bought, like to the Dodgers uniforms, they were just different colors back then. You see the background, the stadium, or the grandstands in the back with the pennants and the beautiful blue sky with some clouds darted in there. And this is you're going to see some more Diamond Stars cards, but this is just a great set. So this is Sam Leslie. Let's see, 1934 Gowdy. We'll do that next. That's Ray Benj. I think that's one of the first Dodger cards I bought from the 30s in the Gowdies. He pitched for several years. And I bought this one, I'll be honest, I bought it because I couldn't find it. I found it cheaper graded than I did ungraded. So I kept this as part of my collection. Always like this lower banner here that says Lou Gehrig Says. Lou Gehrig Says. And then arguably, I think, or probably, my best card from this era is my 1933 Gowdy Lefty Grove. I absolutely love this card. I was thrilled when I bought this card. I think, it's the only, I think I have like a 1976 Lefty Grove card when one of those Topps Sporting News All-Stars or All-Time Stars type thing. But I bought this one. Maybe someday I can get the Diamond Stars card, but for now I'll definitely keep this Lefty Grove. Robert Lefty Grove. I've shown this card a few times, and it's just, I wasn't going to show it today because I go, I always show that card. But when I see it, I go, I've got to just show it. From the batter up set, here is a 1934-36 batter up Dan Taylor of the Brooklyn Dodgers. I've got, for my Dodgers cards, I have all the cards from the 30s. So you won't be seeing these, the rest of these cards are going to be graded. So I won't be showing my team cards from the Dodgers, but I still have a few cards in here to show off from the Dodgers. But this one I chose just because it was a graded card and it was easier to take out than my graded cards. But here is, what is this? Oh, it's an authentic. Minimum size not met. So somebody cut that thing out. Dan Taylor. Let's see. Some more Diamond Stars. Here is a Diamond Stars Lloyd Wayner card. And I bought that in the last couple of months. This is a recent pickup. Love the background, love the red. The field looks a little yellow, but then I like the green background up top. Lloyd Wayner is a Hall of Famer. Card number 16 on the Diamond Stars. And if you're going to show a Lloyd Wayner card, you have to show his brother, Paul Wayner, 1933 Gaudy. Love this card as well. I wanted some guys from the 30s on my display wall for my Hall of Fame section. And this one was definitely one of them that I wanted. Paul Wayner. When he actually ended his career, I think, with the Dodgers. He didn't do much, but his best years were definitely with the Pirates. Let's see. 1934 Gaudy, Ernie Lombardi. This is just a cool card. Look at these 34 Gaudis. Good photo of Lombardi. Got the green background with the baseball diamond. Lou Gehrig says, these are just good-looking cards. If I could get the both Lou Gehrig cards, maybe I'd start a set. But it's really hard. Really hard. Good-looking set, though. And it's only 96 cards, which is why I think I really like it. Good-looking card. One of my favorite cards, I just love the pose. 1934 Diamond Stars, Al Simmons. There's a variation without the Sox logo on his uniform because he had been traded after this card was made. And I think the last 12 cards of the Diamond Star set are like updated. And that could be the case for this one. Al Simmons. He also has a very nice 33 Gaudy card that I really, really like. So there's Al Simmons. Last card, the later years of the last year of the 30s, and that's a 39 play ball Leo DeRocher. And the reason that I wanted to show you this card was because as I was building my Dodger team sets, I went backwards. I started modern day, went through the 21st century, did the 90s, did the 80s, did the 70s, 60s, 50s, etc. Eventually I decided, let's do play ball 39 to 41, and we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to buy any cards older. So Leo DeRocher was going to be the first card on my display case up on my wall because he would have been the oldest Dodger. Well, Leo's now like eighth oldest just because I started buying older cards. But at the time, the plan was just to stop buying cards pre-1939. And I keep finding cards for some silly reason. But that is a look at some of my 1930s cards. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much. And we will talk to you next time. Take care.
It's a beautiful day for a ball.